Sometimes that shark, he looks right into you, right into your eyes. You know, the thing about a shark, he's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eyes.
That's right. We watched Jaws this week on the Movie Gap, the podcast that has you scream.
How have you not seen that? 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 Little darling, how have you not seen this?
Welcome to the Movie Gap. I am your host, Chase Austin. As always, I am joined by the crotchety old seaman to my right. I had to check that.
You always check.
Yeah. Doesn't change very often, yet I always check. Bryce Perkins. Say hello, Bryce.
Yarg.
And we have a special guest, our dear friend and fan favorite, Mr. AP Stark.
Yes. Hello. Greetings and salutations.
He is joining us digitally via the internet. That's how cool we are.
What'd you do?
I turned my volume all the way down.
What?
I don't know. All right. We can still hear Stark, though.
Yes.
All right. Well, yeah, so we're about to start talking about Jaws, but before we do, Bryce.
Yeah.
How you been, man?
I've been doing great, Chase. I've been doing great.
Yeah.
I found the answer. I found my calling, my whole purpose of being. I have found it. So I'm doing fantastic. Bless you, Jehovah and Jesus. Best friends. 4L. That means for life.
Yeah. All right. So you're still doing the Jehovah's Witness thing? Is that
Am
what you're
I
saying?
still doing the Jehovah's Witness thing, Chase? Let me tell you something. My handler, my protector in the Jehovah's Witness program.
Wait, you have a handler?
Yeah, is in the. So I was accepted into the Jehovah's Witness protection program for an alleged murder of the head of Coffee, Mr. Coffee.
Right.
And then over the last couple of weeks, I gave that similar treatment to my handler, Jehovah. He was looking very sleepy. I gave him some coffee intravenously, and he never woke up. But it's okay, because where I saw a man that wouldn't wake up, maybe he's visiting, he's having a conference, a great conference in the sky with the Lord Jehovah. And he needs a little more time. So since there's a vacuum of power, I have willfully stepped in, and I am now the head of the Jehovah's Witness Protection Program.
Well, here's a quick question. His name is Jehovah, he prays to Jehovah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Stark, why don't you ask him some questions about his theology? See if it, it's very interesting. He's very knowledgeable. He knows all there is to know about the Jehovah's Witness.
He's taught me all.
Fantastic. So, I mean, what exactly do you believe happens whenever you meet the old Jehovah?
Oh, that's interesting. There's many chapters on that in.
I'd love to hear about
in the book of Jehovah's Witness Protection Program. Well, what happens is you are immediately, when you ascend into the heavens, which is just above Earth's atmosphere.
Right. Oh, okay. I've always wondered about that.
Well, we all know space is a hoax by now, so we can just gloss over that.
Yes.
What really is out there is just heaven. So you're immediately greeted by the sun. The sun is actually God's throne. And
like the SUN sun.
yeah, it's actually God's throne.
Oh, okay.
Is
So
it hot?
And when
do you
well,
like burn
no,
up
you
on
are
it?
protected from because you have been deemed worthy of its
Oh.
presence. You are no longer susceptible to sunburns.
wow.
Yeah. You get to be in its presence, fully nude. By the way,
Well, I assume
you no longer
clothes would
have
burn off.
Yeah, you have no longer have a need for earthly possessions.
Well, what about genitalia? Do you no longer have a need for genitalia, or
That is a
Fully
fantastic question.
smooth down there.
Ken doll in it?
Yep. Fully smooth. Still horny though. That's kind of
So
the
it's a
only
weird thing.
bad part. Yeah.
So maybe it's kind of like they say, like, like the soul isn't necessarily the brain, right? Even though that's
Yeah.
where we know all the
So-
horniness doesn't come from the genitalia.
No.
It's like this. It's like its own soul.
It's you. Yeah, it's you.
It's you. You're your horniness. I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's where your handler is. And you're still
I don't know
here.
what he's doing. I'm assuming it's something like that. He may come back. I don't think he's dead. Okay.
What are you
I
doing?
think he's just asleep. I'm just filling the vacuum of power while.
I mean, I enjoy boning your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So,
All right.
I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with that
yeah.
answer.
All right. Yeah. So it's going great. And I have a lot of money. And even if he did die, I can't be persecuted because I'm the head of a religious sect now. And we all know that they are protected from being persecuted by the federal government
No.
or
that's
local
not what that
authorities
means.
otherwise. Look at Joel Osteen, never been persecuted for anything. Look at
I feel like we are going to get
every
in trouble
religious leader.
for everything you're saying.
Yeah. And it's because of the fact that they persecuted the original religious leader, the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, that governments decided we will never do that to any religious leader ever again. Praise Jesus.
That's an accurate depiction of history.
So,
Definitely. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
That is me right now.
oh, okay.
All right. Well,
Thank you for asking, Chase.
So yeah, this is what I live with.
Thank you for asking.
So Stark, how have you been, man?
Scary times we live in.
Mhm.
Overall, could be doing better. But all in all, not too shabby. I'm not going to come up with a bunch of bullshit like our friend Bryce here. So I'm just going to say cool.
All right.
Thank you for believing, my man.
Hey, Chase, how have you been, sir? How you been doing?
Pretty good. I'm in between classes right now. Just finished summer 1, about to start summer 3 on Monday or Tuesday.
How many summers do you get?
Well,
That's a lot of summers.
there's 3 summer class schedule things, but there's summer 1, which is like 5 weeks, and summer 3, that's 5 weeks, and then there's summer 2, which starts in the middle of summer 1 and ends in the middle of summer 2 or summer 3. So you could do 1 and 3 or just 2. It's real confusing, but
Some high quality programming here.
yeah.
The Book of Jehovah says there's only one summer, so I don't believe in that scientific bullshit you're spewing, Chase.
Yeah, so that's all I've been doing. I don't have a job thanks to COVID, so just doing a lot of podcasting work, editing these
Sure.
these fancy new videos. I don't know if you've checked them out. Check them out on YouTube. We are now posting videos along with all of our podcasts, so enjoy that. Let us know what you think. All right. Well, I guess that leads us right into talking about this movie. This is one that has been on the list since the inception of the list.
Yeah.
This is one that I can't believe you've never seen for like 100%. It's insane.
It's
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So the big thing is, this thing is a massive cornerstone of pop culture.
Right.
It's parodied all over the place. The lines are, famous to the point where people misquote them, and the misquote is even more famous than the real lines. This started the summer blockbuster. This was the largest grossing movie of all time when it came out. This is fucking Jaws.
Wait, it was the largest grossing movie of all time when it came out?
Yeah. It was unseated by the first Star Wars New Hope.
Right.
Yeah. And then since then, whatever.
Right.
But it's one of the first movies, I think it was the first movie to make $100 million.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, especially without what do you call it? Like that's domestically it broke 100 million.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, which is still doesn't happen all that often,
right.
So it's a big big deal.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it
It's
definitely
one
didn't
that
happen back then.
It's one that I even am like, I can't believe that I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting it to do this one for a while now, just because it's like, man, we gotta it's been a long time coming. So here we are.
Yeah, well,
finally.
we kept putting it off because it was one that my wife was like, I'll do that episode. I'll do that episode.
Right.
And then she's like, I don't want to do anything right now. I don't want to do anything right now. And then we started doing filming, and she goes, I'm never doing it again. So go ahead and do Jaws. Like, I'm not going to get on camera. So we had our friend Stark join us since he was preoccupied last week for the anniversary episode. So what a gift that we have him here today.
That's right.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. It is a fucking gift. You're right.
Yeah.
Enjoy, motherfucker. Eat your heart out. Eat it.
All right, Bryce. So first and foremost,
Yeah.
you've never seen this movie. So what is the reason you hadn't seen it, and what did you know about this movie going in? And maybe like even what were you expecting?
I don't know. I don't know a reason why I never saw it. It was just one of those ones that never. I mean, it was played on TV a lot and stuff growing up too. But I don't know. It was just never one that was put on that. By my parents or anything for me to sit there and watch all the way through. And then I guess I don't know. There's sand in it, so
Yeah,
I probably
that's
was
all the
like,
sand.
I'm all right. I'll pass as a kid. So yeah, I mean that's the only reason I can think I haven't seen it.
I mean, there's some mild packing, but not really, not enough to get you going.
Right.
So
Not enough to get me out the
yeah.
door.
And there was no unpacking.
Right, exactly, which is my real hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when there's packing, but no unpacking.
Right. So, as far as like what I knew about it, I knew a lot about it. I knew it was Spielberg, and it was a classic film, massive hit. Doesn't this get credited for the beginning of the summer blockbuster too?
Yes, I just said that.
Oh, you did?
Are you?
Oh wait, is this one of the first movies to make 100 million?
Maybe you missed that through the Zoom lag. Like the whole reason that we're doing it in person again is to get rid of the Zoom lag. No, it's still here.
Was this the
not the Zoom
highest
lag.
grossing film of all time whenever it first came out?
Yeah. Yes, Stark.
Okay, I was making sure.
I said that too. Are you joking?
Yeah, he's joking. Wasn't it also
Shut up.
called Jaws? No. Yeah. So. So long. Such a long drop.
Hey, it's what you need to shut up.
Oh, I guess. Yeah, I knew that, it was, did I say it was Spielberg already?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, I knew that. And, I knew Roy Schneider's face, or Scheider. I knew his face was iconic, because of this movie. It's really the only thing he's ever done, huh?
No. I mean, this is definitely the biggest thing he's ever done.
Right.
I mean, this is pretty much the biggest thing most of them have done.
Right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Spielberg, obviously, a million things.
Right.
But Richard Dreyfuss, has done a lot of...
But I knew Dreyfuss was in it.
Yeah. And this was, early on in his career. But, yeah, this is definitely the thing that most people know... what's his name? Robert Shaw from. This is what most people know Roy Schneider from.
Scheider.
No, it's Schneider.
Why does it say
no,
Scheider?
it is Scheider. It is Scheider, yeah. I think Rob Schneider. Yeah, it gets in my head. But
Rob Schneider.
Roy Scheider.
Roy Scheider, Rob Schneider.
I mean, obviously,
Very different.
Yeah, Scheider's not the best name either.
But
I was about to say Rob Schneider. I didn't realize he was that old. You know,
Yeah.
he looks different now.
Yes.
No, this
very.
is that's because that's his son.
Oh,
Yeah, Rob
Yeah.
Schneider's Roy Scheider.
Rob Schneider is Rob Schneider the second.
Yeah.
Right.
Roy Scheider the second.
Roy Scheider's son
Yeah.
is the second, who has a totally different name.
Yeah.
Well, he just looks really different in that movie, The Animal. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah. Completely.
completely different.
he just looks so different.
Looks the same in the hot chick though.
He does exactly the same.
One of those, I don't remember which one. I think it was The Animal had a girl from the first season of Survivor in it.
Yes, it did. Yes,
was that
it
The
did.
Animal? Was that the? I think it was The Animal. It was like
No, I don't.
her name was
No, it was the
Colleen
hot chick.
something.
It was
Yeah.
the hot chick, I think.
Okay.
As the main girl.
Yeah, like she
Oh,
was
wow.
like trying to parlay into acting.
Into
This is back when
acting, yeah.
they were starting, like reality
Yeah.
series were like just brand new, and they were like, well, now that we have these famous people, like maybe we can put them in a movie, and they'll do something. This is all before social media became what they do after. So yeah, it didn't work out for
Right.
her. So
Right.
It was The Animal. It was The
it
Animal.
was The Animal. That's what I thought. Yeah. Hot chick was that. Who was the girl in that?
Rachel McAdams or something?
I think so. That's what I
Yeah.
wanted to say.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we're not talking about either one
Right.
of those. Although you
It's
probably
Rob
haven't seen
Schneider.
either one.
No, I've seen all the Rob Schneider movies.
So he hasn't seen Jaws, but
Yeah.
he's seen fucking hot
Not
chicks. Are you
Jaws.
kidding me
Hasn't
right
seen
now?
Jaws,
Animal,
Die Hard,
Hot
never got around
Chick.
to. But the oeuvre of Rob Schneider
Yes. Actually,
is
that's
well
true.
into.
That's true. Very true.
He has traversed that many times.
Yes.
All right.
That's actually very true. All the Sanders,
Although-
the Schneiders.
I know one that oh God, this is one that we need to do real bad. That is a Rob Schneider that you have not seen. And that's Judge Dredd.
Rob
Oh,
Schneider's
yeah.
in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. As a main character?
Yeah. Well, like
Supporting
yeah.
character.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
And then
It's super
No, wait.
young, Rob Schneider.
yeah, and then I always get that one confused with Demolition Man, which Demolition Man is actually really good. Judge Dredd is great.
Yeah.
Like, it's awful, but it's great.
Yeah.
Awful
Judge Dredd
is definitely
is.
the right word.
I mean, Demolition Man is awesome, but it doesn't have Rob Schneider in it. So.
Oh.
But those are episodes that you have to look forward to.
Okay.
So along with other things that we always shout out during these episodes that we never write them down and we forget.
Right. I do look forward to listening to those episodes.
Yeah. Oh, God. This is a long episode already. All right. Well, yeah, then let's go ahead and get into it.
Okay.
Bryce. What do you want to talk about first?
All right. Well, I got notes. I wrote them down.
Oh,
As you
thank
can
God.
see.
Wow.
This is always more fun.
Wrote down me notes. John Williams.
You wrote that was your note, John Williams? Wow, we're in for
Bruh, John
a riveting episode. Bryce writes down the credits to the fucking movie. Holy shit. Great start.
Well,
Oh my God, I see the second note. The second note is literally Roy Scheider. He's just writing down the credits. What are you doing?
Oh, bruh. This is a hot mess.
it looks a lot worse than it is because the thing is, I write down the names and then I talk about them. That's what That's what notes are. But the reason I stopped at John Williams is because I had written John Williams Scott. Yeah, I knew that, and I almost said it, and I knew I was going to get that reaction out of you.
Oh boy. John
There we are.
Williams
But
Scott.
this is John Williams with yet another one of his classic scores.
Mhm.
One of his first, I would imagine, right?
No, I don't think it was one of his first, but I'll check that.
Because I realized it was
It's
before
early.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Maybe his first iconic one.
I mean, it is easily one of his most iconic. It's one
Yeah.
of the most iconic scores
Of all time.
ever.
Yeah.
Well, he created a character out of his soundtrack.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's what it was.
And when he was started to play it for Spielberg, like Spielberg was like, I knew he was going to do something like kind of like inner spacey, something like I was really expecting it to really bring something out. And he's a genius. So he gets in there and he sits me down and he just starts playing like 2 notes, and I started laughing. He's like, well, okay, so what do you got? He's like, no, that's actually it. He goes, oh my God, that actually is. I thought you were joking. He's like, the guy has a good sense of humor, so he thought he was joking at first.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, that's actually pretty awesome. So that is, that whole score has become synonymous with just like dread and like danger.
Yeah.
And it's so simple.
Yeah, and it being tied with the shots of the shark moving, or when you see the fin or whatever coming up.
And it's used. It's also used so well to where, you like they'll do it where like they train the audience. The whole movie is done in such a way because Spielberg is an incredible director, and
Thank you for admitting that, Chase. I appreciate that.
It's a big, crazy thought that Spielberg is a great
being
director.
the residential Steven Spielberg apologist.
I love Spielberg.
No.
And one
Wait,
thing,
why do you have to be an apologist? Do people talk shit about Spielberg nowadays?
Particularly people named Perkins.
Yeah, you.
Have a lot of shit talk about my boy Spielberg.
Which is always funny because you haven't seen any of them.
Well, but no, see, I like Spielberg. I think he's an amazing director. I didn't like Poltergeist as much, but that's not necessarily
He didn't direct
Spielberg.
that.
Yeah.
No, well,
it's Hooper.
And that's up in the air.
That's a debate up for debate. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue with your point, sir.
But the way that they use the score, specifically the Jaws theme, like they train the audience to like, oh, you hear that, danger's there, and then but then like sometimes it'll be like, oh, we're expecting it to come, and then it's like just the head coming out of the hole or something, like, so you're like, oh shit, like now, but then, and then they go the other way where like he's, when he's chumming the waters that first time you really see the shark, and he's not even looking, and there's no sound. Yeah. Like there's no, he's just doing it, and he just goes, yeah, and you're like, oh shit.
That's the sound it makes too,
Yeah.
right? That shot, that shot of him shooting straight up, I knew that shot specifically. That's the one that they always go to whenever it's like Jaws, and it shows that shot.
Yeah, I have a poster of it. A print of it hanging downstairs.
That shot though is so fucking good because I think it's a reaction that literally is like universally relatable. You know what I mean? If that happened to you, you would probably do the exact same fucking thing, just like speechless, like oh shit.
Yeah,
like,
shoots
and then the way
straight up.
he slowly backs in and he's like, we're gonna need a bigger boat. And then how he keeps bringing, he's like, well, we can go back and get a bigger boat, right? That's fucking so funny and so good. And also seeing the shark like that for the first time, that shit was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
It was fucking awesome.
there is, and there's all the different reasons for not seeing the shark or whatever. But I mean, from the very beginning, Spielberg didn't want to overuse the shark.
Yeah.
It would be scarier not seeing it because
and it was,
they knew that they weren't going to have a ton of live footage of actual sharks.
Yeah.
And
every time they had to splice that in, it kind of took away from the
but like you can't discount the fact though that a lot of it was because of the fact that shark kept fucking breaking down though too. And him winging it, creating one of the most classic horror movies of all times because of shit happening and failures.
Well, yeah, Spielberg said that he goes,
I want to know those stories.
Watching Jaws is fun. Watching Jaws is great. Making Jaws was hell. Because it was he would like after the movie fucking blew up, there's lines outside the theaters. In fact, it was supposed to open in 1,000 theaters, which was unheard of at the time. And the studio said, no, let's cut it back to like 490 or something because we want lines around the block.
Yeah,
so
for
like
the hype.
real
That's
shitty,
smart.
but like and so they did that. And then like they would take out full page ads in like Variety and Times and stuff where it was that shot of the shark like going up, from the poster, and all of the names of movies with their grosses like were going into its mouth all the way up to like Gone with the Wind.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so they were all just eating them all until it got to the top.
Oh wow!
And so like this movie
great
was
marketing.
Yeah, it was blowing up, and Spielberg was still having nightmares where he was on like the 4th day of shooting and he still had this whole road and he would wake up in sweats, just be like, for months after the movie came out.
Wow.
Yeah. He really hated doing it.
Wow.
But, I keep losing my mouse over there. Sorry.
Well, okay. So speak to, inform me or enlighten me, guys, about Spielberg's journey into getting to be the director of this film. I don't know much about his career.
Okay, well,
I know that third Close Encounters was after this one.
Yeah.
Was this his first?
This was his third movie.
Big thing.
But it was his first one that blew him up. It was a movie that blew him
So,
up.
This was the one that
before
this was
this-
the house that made Spielberg or whatever.
Sort of, yeah. So before this, he had done a little movie called Duel, which was he like says is a companion piece almost to Jaws. It's about a big tanker truck that's chasing this guy off the road or whatever, and it's like this foreboding presence that's always following him.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I've seen lots of clips from it
Okay.
and things like that, but I've never actually seen it. I think it might have been made for TV or something. But anyway, so that was one that he had done before this, and then he did Sugarland Express, and then got offered Jaws. So before this was based on a book by Peter Benchley, and then it got bought by Universal, and they were going to make it into a movie. And the guy they had originally set up to direct, they fired him because he, in all of his pitches and everything, he kept saying, "I've always wanted to make a movie about a whale." And he goes, "Then we're going to open the movie opens, and you see the beach, and then there's just a whale that jumps up." They're like, "It's not a fucking whale. We're not making a movie about a whale."
Wow.
So they fired him and got Spielberg. Spielberg said, "Here's the deal. I want to do this movie. I want to do it like the book. I mean, I don't want to do it like the full book. I want to take it and make it just a straight ABC action movie, not have all these subplots. In the book, like there's the marriage between Schneider and his wife, Brody and Mrs. Brody. What is her name? Helen or something?
Mrs. Brody.
Ellen. Yeah, Ellen. Ellen Brody, and he is just Brody. So their marriage is like on the rocks, and Hooper and Ellen Brody have an affair. So like there's all this other stuff going on. So they said, we're going to cut all that out.
Yeah.
And Benchley was like, fine. So Benchley made a draft. Spielberg actually made his own draft. And he's like, I just wanted to do it as an exercise to sort of see, like, do I know the movie that I want to make? Like, he's like, I need to know what I'm doing. So he wrote his own draft. He's like, it was, pretty terrible. Very few people have seen it. He doesn't even know if he still has a copy of it. But he's like, that's why I don't write. He's like, I'm not a good writer, but I had all these ideas for what he wanted to do. And part of that was, the whole, like, getting rid of all the subplot and a lot of it doing the shots that you don't see the shark. For instance, one of the very first shots that sounds so badass that he wrote in there that they just didn't have the money for was it kind of took place in place of the two guys that are fishing with that giant ham.
Yeah.
Where you see that badass scene where the dock goes out and then it turns around.
Yeah.
So like that's terrifying and that's great. And he had that in there, but he also had this other one where it was this guy on the dock, like the guy that takes care of the pier or whatever, was watching a movie. I think it was an old movie called Don't Go Into the Water or something, like Winky. And so he goes out to the pier and he's like washing out his coffee pot, and you can see all the way down the marina, and there's just all the masts of all the boats, and from the very way back you see one starts to like sway, and then the next one starts to sway, and then the next one starts to sway. So you got them all these masts. So as it gets closer, you see the shark without seeing it, and then the guy gets eaten. But that ended up getting cut because that was going to cost too much money. But that allowed him to get in the mindset of what he wanted to do in this movie. So, but they had all these different people writing the scripts, and things kept changing, and they didn't even have a script like 9 days before they started shooting. This is when they finally got like a completed script. Yeah.
Wow.
And they were under the gun because the SAG contracts were going to be up, and any movie that started filming had to be done before they were going to have to wrap because all the actors were going to go on strike.
Yeah.
And then, if you have a movie that's in production, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like you have to bend to their will. So they wanted to make sure every movie was done before that point. And this movie ended up being like 150 something days, and it was supposed to be 51 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Massively over budget.
Yeah. But
it went over budget and over
massive.
Yeah.
In fact, famously massively over budget.
Yeah, it was. Everybody on it pretty much was certain it was going to bomb because they were out there shooting for 14 hours a day, and they would come back with 5 shots or none. Like because they were shooting out in the water, and his whole thing was that he knew that like he was fighting with the shark all the time. And then he was also fighting with, you couldn't see land. He did not want you to ever see any land while you're out there because you want to feel
like you're
stranded. If you see land, you're like, fucking just swim or just take the boat back. But if you're stuck out there with nothing, so you're out there, you got this beautiful horizon, so you can really only shoot like the one direction. And you got this beautiful horizon, and then there's like a sailing like regala like coming through. And,
my god!
So then you'd have to sit there and wait for this fucking boat to get all the way across. It would take an hour and a half for it to travel the whole horizon. You set up again, you start to go, and then another one fucking comes.
Wow.
Yeah, and so just shooting in actual open sea, you have the weather, the swells, like it's all unpredictable.
Yeah.
So it took forever to really get it shot.
I can imagine, yeah.
But
dude, kudos to Spielberg for, sticking to his guns and being patient.
Yeah.
Being like, no, I have this idea. Let's just do this. I'm not going to compromise and have a boat in the background. Fuck that. And because he did that, it is just a fucking incredible.
Yeah, he said
movie.
that with that scene when they're all singing that drinking song, I'm tired and I want to go home. He said like while they were shooting that, it was like towards the end of everything, of like the production and everything. And he's like after they were done shooting it and everything, he looked around and the crew just was all just weeping.
Really?
Because they were just like they felt
the
it.
Same,
they were like, I want to go home.
And I was gonna say like the boats with the crew on them and stuff, they're just sitting out there in the sun, in the sea water or in the salt water.
Well, and then like
they were probably just getting dried out.
There was part
fried.
of it. So like you have the orca. There was 2 orcas. Okay, they had one that they bought that was a real boat that they bought there and did some modifications to it to make it have like the character they wanted with the bigger windows and the squared top and all that shit. And then they had a mock-up orca that was on these giant ballasts and hydraulic, air compression things that they could weight it so it could sink. You could lift it up and sink it again. You could lift it up and tilt it the other way and sink it. Jeez, but then the real one to get like it pull and all that kind of stuff, it was like a regular real boat, and they attached ropes to the side of it that went underneath the boat, and they had jet boats out on the other thing to like pull it and move it to do it. And they ripped a hole in it. When they did that one time, and the whole boat was going down within 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It was going down. The first thing they just yell, save the actors, and the whole fucking sound crew is on there. They go, fuck the actors, save the sound department, and he's like holding all the recording equipment above his head. And they lost a couple of cameras that went under, and all of the fucking film that they were shooting was going under, and they were freaking out. And they realized that when the way that you develop film, especially back then, they would use a saline solution. And so Spielberg was like, "Fucking call the lab right now and tell them we're coming." And so they just put all of this ruined film in buckets of salt water and rushed it over there, and they saved it all. They didn't lose a foot of film. So, but
how far out, or how far from shore were they?
I mean, not they could see it, like they weren't,
but it was far enough out to where like.
They weren't going to swim.
Under,
they were in boats. Like you can't have those boats on like sandbars.
Right.
And they said that they when it started going, the one of the sound guys or whatever, he jumped up out of the bottom of the boat where they were like hiding for the shooting, and he just gunned the engines to just try and get it. And he was going to just try to run it aground before it sank, and they didn't make it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Much like how he was, what's his name? Quint was trying to get. The beast home before his boat sank.
So
he ain't staying down with 3 barrels. No way. No way.
Famous last words.
All right.
Famous
so
last words.
Famous last words. Yeah.
We'll get to some more stories specifically about the shark and stuff as we get there. But let's get to it.
Yeah.
Throughout the rest of the notes here.
I wanted to say I do have a notes journey, but that was really mostly just me trying to call who was going to die and stuff.
Okay. Well, that's fun.
And I called it with that kid. That was a little obvious. I called it with the dog, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, that shot of just the stick.
It was just the stick floating.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, shit.
Oh, man.
And again, this is where the brilliance of Spielberg comes in. First of all, motherfucker knows composition. Like, all of his shots are so fucking
I was going to say
interesting.
that. I was actually going to say that. Like, the way he frames every shot,
Yeah.
it is, to me, it is a tour de force masterclass on how to make a fucking movie.
So composition is framing and shit?
Yeah, it's the look. Like
Okay.
like the, you know, for instance, like
so-
our the composition of our shot right here is
Right.
what you're seeing.
It's something
Yeah.
that Spielberg wished he could
Yeah.
have done.
It's how he aims the camera. It's
yeah.
that's does it.
It's the way he sets up his shots.
Yeah.
Okay,
But, you know,
so-
he's got interesting angles. It
Yeah.
forces your eye to the right place.
Right.
And it's like, you know, even just as simple as when Brody and his wife are talking in their living room, they're sitting in like the corner, and you can see the ocean behind them,
Yeah.
and like it's lined up real nicely. It's very pretty.
So I also noticed that without knowing that that's like what it was called
Yeah.
or whatever, and I had a specific note about it, and it was Steven Spielberg. No, just kidding. It was no, it was where was it? Oh, man, Spielberg. Oh wait, no. I don't know. It's on here anyway.
Yeah,
Anyway, it said it was basically like, you know, Spielberg has a fucking eye for the film.
Yeah.
He has an eye
Yeah.
for it. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but like he was really the first. Like he's really the only one that does shit like that, right? Like,
No.
didn't he kind of revolutionize the way shit was directed?
No, I
with
wouldn't
his
say
angle
that.
usage and stuff like
It's
that.
just he's just very, very good at it.
Well,
Like,
I would
all
also
it's
say,
so distinct though.
but that's what I was about to say. I think that he developed the style that it was unlike anything anybody else had. That was
Yeah.
so Spielberg, just like Kubrick has his own way
Yeah.
of holding his camera, setting up his shots.
And
that are very
Kubrick is
distinctively.
very meticulous about his composition. It's just not
Just like
the same-
Spielberg is.
Yeah, Spielberg's composition, like it lends itself to like cinematic picture. You know,
Yeah.
where it's just like it's like a different.
Well, he has a way of making everything bigger than
Yeah.
what it really is. He
Well,
has a
and,
way
you know-
of making things more epic. He's very what's the word? He's very poetic.
Well,
kind of.
Spielberg is a character in every one of his movies too, and I keep saying that about the character, about the music. Like, you feel like the perspective that you're being forced into through his camera,
Yeah.
you are seeing it through some narrative's eyes. That
And
are
for
just,
like
Yeah.
one of the things that he did in this movie is everything is shot at water level. Specifically, when you're out in the water, it's as though he wanted it
Yeah.
to feel as though you're treading water.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why he made those. They made some special rigs that would allow the
Would
camera
bounce
to
with
be
you.
on,
Yeah,
and it would
yeah.
be like on the water. So like it could hit the
Floating,
water.
yeah, going up
so
and down with
the whole
it.
movie,
Yeah,
especially when you're out there, you feel like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm tired. Like you're
Right.
feeling it.
Yeah,
that's
big
what I'm
time.
saying. Look right
Yeah.
here, look, water level, bro. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what
there
I'm
you go,
saying.
water level.
Yep.
I am
absolutely.
water level right now.
But one
Yeah.
thing I was going to say also is that like in that
I
scene
am
where
water level
where
right now.
the kid gets eaten and everything, that scene is not about the kid getting eaten. That scene is about Brody watching, knowing that something's going to happen,
Right.
like knowing that the people shouldn't be out there,
Right. And seeing
which
his
is
worst
topical,
nightmare
and we can
come
talk about
true.
that later. But,
Could I say a couple of things about that real quick?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Absolutely.
Okay, so first off, I wanted to say that just specifically with the kid, to me from childhood, that's one of the most traumatic scenes that I remember. Like, it made me single-handedly scared of having those long floaties, even in a pool. I always used to think that there would be a shark
Yeah.
underneath me.
Yeah.
I could not do it at all. But one of the biggest things to me, which I was watching it and started realizing, when you're seeing, like, from what that led to and everything like that, you're getting to this big theme that feels very prescient of the times, which being like with the COVID-19 thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
You see this town that the mayor and the government, everybody like
hope
that,
for the
they're
beaches.
all worried about
Yeah.
economy.
Yeah.
They're worried about the economy, and they're not worried about the safety of the people.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "You're not going to shut down the beaches, are you?" And you're like, "Yeah, we got to." And everybody's all up in arms about it.
yeah.
It's just so of the times. I don't know if you guys did this on purpose, but I was like watching, going, "Oh my god,
no.
this is incredible."
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how these movies we've chosen have lined up with what's happening
and
now.
it's been commented on many times.
Yeah.
Like, there's always like people putting Trump's face, or the mayor of or the governor of Florida or whatever over
Amityville.
the mayor of Amity,
Yeah.
not Amityville, Amity.
Oh, Amity. Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
but
It's a very different place.
Oh.
yeah,
Oh, my bad. Yeah, no, it's kind of weird. It's been a lesson in history repeating itself. It's like kind of like it
Or
seems
art
like
imitating life imitating art.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
because
absolutely.
this is not an unheard of thing
Right.
about safety
Something that's
versus
been-
economy.
Right.
Right.
Something that's been going on since, man, or woman. Something that's
So
been
wait, that
going on
was
since woman.
already something that's been pointed out, Chase? Before?
Oh,
You
yeah.
said people made that.
Many-
I didn't
many
even realize
times.
that.
although
I didn't
I saw
wanna-
someone make a post about it before I even watched it, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm going to find out what the fuck they're talking about in a couple minutes here."
I never knew that. That's awesome.
Some of the and the fact that it's like about 4th of July weekend, which
Yeah.
won't be when we release this.
I know. I was
but-
like, wow, it's the perfect time to watch it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw this up here real quick.
Ah. Oh, that's awesome.
It says Star gets a Fox News thing, and it says officials on council to reopen Amity Beach, and it's just a bunch of pictures of sharks. It says not a shark, me either. No sharks here. Jaws who?
Jaws.
This one, the water is fine. Open the beaches. Think of the economy.
That's good stuff.
Oh my God. So yeah, that is
Memes
I picked up on that.
galore.
I
Yeah.
guess it's a thing.
But yeah. So, but what I was going to say about that shot specifically is
Sorry.
so you're watching, before the famous, what a lot of people call the Jaws shot, which is that trombone shot, and then they also made famous in Vertigo.
Yeah.
Where you know what I'm talking about, Bryce? Where
Trombone
he's sitting
shot.
like as soon as the kid gets eaten, and you see Brody, and it like zooms in on him, and like you
Oh
see the-
yeah.
so like that's done by zooming in zooming out while pushing the camera in.
Oh, okay.
So like you're zooming out, but you're
Yeah,
physically
it
getting
gives that
closer.
like
Gotcha,
so
gotcha.
so the outside
Oh,
is
neat. Neat.
and it's basically the reverse shot that was created for Vertigo. Which
Mhm.
if you haven't never seen Vertigo, we got to watch that sometime.
Yes, Hitchcock, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Also
Hitchcock is
a
also
great director.
yeah.
Yes.
And so, but like in that shot, so like there's him always like looking out over the beach, trying to see stuff, and there's always these people walking in front of him. And as the people walk in front of him, it cuts on those people to people walking like from his perspective. So you're kind of seeing these swipes of people, and it makes it look like you feel more connected to what he's literally seeing when you
Mhm.
look out at the water.
Mm.
So it's like you see him, and there's like a swipe, and then you're looking out, and now you see like the kid swimming, and then it's a swipe, and you're back to him, and it's a swipe, and like
Mhm.
there's the dog. So it's just really well
Yeah.
put together in that way.
Mhm.
It was also really grisly too when you saw the shark, like that one shot where the shark is literally eating the kid.
Yeah.
Like I forgot about how grisly that was. I was like, shit, they actually showed that.
Yeah, and this
then
movie was
The
PG.
pool of blood
Yeah.
just appears.
Granted, this movie was before. This was like 10 years before PG-13,
Yeah.
but they had to fight to get the PG rating. They had originally got an R rating, and they just had to cut like 3 or 4 feet of no pun intended of footage of the leg that
Oh.
falls and hits the ground.
Yeah.
Like it had more like if it landing and just bleeding out. And so like they just cut it to right when it like hits, and then he cut
Oh, I
that, and then everybody's like, okay, this is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you don't like have to look at it too long.
Well, and Spielberg says, like the whole
You can
the whole
still
That's what the
See
problem
it.
is.
the whole reason of having the rating is to protect kids, right?
right.
And so you don't want kids to see something that's going to scar them for life. So
like
this being
depictions
PG,
of children being eaten by
Well, yeah,
sharks
but-
while
but
they're
like the
this
whole
being
fucking
PG,
movie,
this being
right?
PG, there's never been any comments of like kids being like, I can't, I wet the bed until I was 25 because of Jaws or anything like that. He said, but there's tons of people who saw it as adults and are like, I can't go swimming
Yeah,
because I just saw
right.
this movie.
I
So-
won't go swimming in the ocean because of this movie.
Yeah.
I never will.
But
Yeah.
so they did have to cut some stuff, and there was a scene that he shot where Brody's son was getting pushed, like when they're in the pond, and Jaws gets into that pond. A guy gets eaten there, and like all you see is the fin, and he's like
you
the
see
masthead.
The face though, that shot where you see the face on its side.
Oh, I was going to say that.
Yeah, of the
that
shark.
was one of the most grisly shots of that shark.
Awesome.
It
was the
so
first time
looking.
you see the shark's face.
Yeah, it was so scary.
Yeah,
Every
you
other
only
time
kind
you
of see it.
Kind of see it, yeah. And until he pops out with Brody right there in the famous shot of the I think we need a bigger boat. Well, but that shot was fucking super awesome because all right, well that actually brings me to like my biggest note about this movie is that the pace of this movie is so well done.
Yeah.
It has such a great pace. It's methodic. You know what I mean? Like nothing about it seems like it moves too fast. If anything, it seems like you're like it seems like it's moving too slow, but really what you're doing is going, man, what do you know? When the fuck is that fucking shark gonna show up?
Yeah.
And you're like
It's
anticipating
building,
it.
building tension.
Yeah.
It's only 2 hours long, but it feels like if you feel like you've lived every moment with those characters because it's so well paced out. And movies, there's a lot of movies that don't really have that quality anymore.
And that's another thing. Like, okay, so this was, for lack of a better word, Spielberg's first real movie.
Right.
You know, like he had done those other two, but this was the big one.
Right.
And this was his shot. It was sink or swim. This was going to make or break his career. And he did learn a lot about filmmaking on this. Granted, you know, now he's like, I wouldn't have done that because I'm not as ambitious.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was ambitious and I was stupid, which was the perfect combination.
Right.
The perfect storm.
Yeah. So they put together the whole movie or whatever, and they showed it, and like that reveal of Jaws when Brody sits up, got a huge scream to the point where in the first thing of it got a huge scream to the point where the audience missed the you're gonna need a
bigger boat
again.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all you've said it wrong. Like you've said it different every time.
I know because I can't remember exactly what it is,
and that's so funny because like,
I know
you
it's
ask
not.
somebody,
I think we need a bigger boat. It's
you're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
But it's always I think we're gonna need a bigger boat,
right.
or I think you're gonna need a bigger boat. But it's just you're gonna need a bigger boat. It's so weird that's one of those lines.
Right.
That's always
like Luke, I am your father. He
it doesn't say that.
Or Scarlet, I don't give a damn. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
is that Scarlet? I don't give a fuck.
I mean, so misquoted.
So misquoted.
So, so he, but the audience missed that line because they were still screaming.
Wow.
So they added in like an extra breath of shot, like him like backing
beat.
in, so that there would be enough time. And he then did what he said. He got greedy, where he went back and added in the shot of the old man, whatever the fisherman's name is, on his boat. You know, when Hooper's down under and he's like pulling out that tooth.
Yeah.
And there's that hole in the boat.
Yeah,
and then that dead
shot.
body.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was added later because he's like, I want to add another scare in. So he added that in.
Yeah.
And there's no music on that one.
Except for the ring that you hear.
So it scares people. They got scared of it. And he said that after that, the Jaws scare
doesn't have the same impact.
because everybody's like on edge now. They're like, he's not going to fucking get us twice.
Yeah.
Like they'll still jump, but it's not the same.
Right.
You
but
know?
dude, that shot of the face, and see, that's another thing. I knew that was another thing I knew about that movie was that shot of the face appearing. So I knew it was going to happen, and it actually got me, dude.
Yeah.
It got me because I think
it's
the music,
okay.
the violin shriek thing was edited so loudly, which is so well done. Because the sound is what scares you more than what you're seeing. It's the combination, right?
Well, so when he went in to shoot that scene, he was like, "Okay, he had a few hours or whatever. He's like, I'm gonna just get every fucking possibility I can." So there's one like where Hooper comes up to it, and then the face comes up. Then there's one where they hit at the same time.
Yeah.
Then there's one where he's like got a second, and it comes in. There are all the different ones, and he like tested it out for all the people in the sound bay or whatever, and they were like, "That's the one."
Yeah.
And without a doubt, that is the best one. Where it's just like he's up there, and you're like, like you have
Yeah,
to, just that
you're-
1 second to breathe, and
just
it's just like,
chilling.
nope.
Yeah.
And like it just leans in.
Yep.
You're like, oh shit.
And you get that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It didn't have to be a head. It could have
Right.
been a goldfish. And you
Yeah,
would've
and it would have been fucking
You know?
scary. But
Yeah.
it actually got me. That's the first time I've been gotten by a jump scare in a while. Like
I
since
know.
I was a kid, maybe.
It's a cool feeling.
I was just sitting there like, it was late,
Yeah.
just chilling, and I was like, I think I was in the middle of writing something, and then I looked up, and then that happened, and it like literally made me shake. It gave me a little nice, ooh,
It's interesting. So I saw this when I was
gave me a tingle.
really young. We were probably like 7 or 8, 8 or 9, something like that. And we would always go up to my parents' office or my dad's office during tax season, and we would just on Saturdays, and we just rent a bunch of movies, and we would be watching. Tanner and I would be watching. My brother, we would be watching movies all day while they were working, and we got on a kick of renting franchises. So like we rented all the Planet of the Apes movies and would watch those, and then we rented all the Jaws movies. This is the only good one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I remember.
Wait until you get into Jaws' little son or little child that's so upset. Anyway, go ahead.
But
For real?
this
Yeah.
In what?
the
Jaws
the
3?
thing that always stood
I
out for me
think so.
the most as like the most disturbing, it wasn't the scares, it wasn't the other, it was just the dead arm at the beginning and with all the crabs on it. Like
Yeah, I
that
was about to
always
say,
scared the
yeah.
shit out
That,
of
I was
me.
about to say that looks like the most. To be honest with you, I think maybe in cinema history up to that point, maybe one of the most grisly shots because
Yeah.
it was so like, what would a real dead body look?
Well, and that's funny because
Yeah.
they had a fake arm, like they were putting that fake arm there or whatever, and they brought the fake arm to Spielberg, and he goes, "No, that looks fake." And they're like, "Well, no, we talked to a pathologist, and like, the body laying out in the sun and blah blah blah, it would look like this." And he's like, I'm not trying to scare pathologists." Like any normal person would look at that and say that looks like fucking plastic. Like, great. We get 6 pathologists in here to watch, and they're like, "Wow, that arm looks exactly how it would look."
That's
He's
funny.
like, "No." So he grabbed like the makeup lady or whatever. He goes, "You get over here." They just buried her in the sand, having her arm. So that's a real person's arm.
Wow.
And then they put all the little
Oh.
crabs on there, and they said they poured coffee on top of the crabs to make the crabs all move around.
Oh,
But,
fucked up. Was it hot coffee?
No.
Also, did they kill a real shark for this? For
Yeah,
one that
I'm about to say. I was going to ask the same thing just now, dude. I'm not going to
No.
lie.
Yeah,
So the
because that's
all
no
of
bueno. That shark did nothing.
all of
Yeah.
the
It was even innocent in the movie.
all of the
It's-
all of the live shark footage was shot by two
Yeah, I saw
like
that National
shark-
Geographic or some
yeah,
shit.
well, it was these 2 shark documentarians, and they shot it all in New Zealand.
Some real life Dreyfuses.
No, so they actually got a little person. They made a miniature bottom of the
miniature
orca,
Dreyfus?
and they got a little person, and he put a little person wetsuit with a little person tank, and they made a little person cage, and they got a normal 12-foot great white shark to come, and like that's how they shot.
You're
Bro,
fucking.
you
I'm
sound
not
like
kidding
you're
you. And
making
so they
that
were
up.
shooting it
sounds
all.
like you're making that
No,
up.
I'm not fucking making it up. So there's a doll. There's some shots where it's a doll in the cage, and then there's some shots where it's a little person in the cage. And then they were shooting it, and like they said they had 3 sharks in the water at the time, and one of them was like super.
But that didn't look like
curious.
a little person. That looked like
Yeah.
It's because he's not. He's proportional little person. He's not like like they're little people. There's all sorts of different little Anyway, I'm gonna be careful. What I
Yeah,
say.
be careful. About
But
say,
anyway,
but,
so
like,
they have the little person in the cage or whatever. Then they got him out, but then the shark came back, and when it came back, they were still filming, and it got itself caught in the top of the cage
yeah.
while there was nobody in there. But it was thrashing around so much
they
and
used
looked
that footage.
violent.
That's how
So
that. I was.
they
wondering.
used
Oh.
it because in the book and in the original script, Hooper gets eaten at that time. So then they had to rewrite it that he got out of the cage so they could use that footage of the empty cage because it looked so aggressive
Oh, wow.
and so real because it was real.
Yeah.
And so then it ended up breaking the cage off of the boat, and like the shark finally got free, and like I've seen like the rest of the footage, and it looks real bad. I was like, that poor shark
right.
is gonna
Yeah,
die,
it
but like the
looked
shark
bad.
was
Yeah, it looked
fine.
bad in the.
And but the guy goes, I couldn't get out of my cage to go like to tie off on the other one because there's 2 other sharks in the water. So they had to lower his cage all the way down to the ground. He had to lift his cage up like a skirt and walk on the bottom to the broken other cage and tie it to the cage and lift it all back up.
It still sounds like you're making this all this
I'm
shit
not
up.
making it up. I'm not making it up. Yeah, and then the other stuff that they did for that was they had they shot it in a tank with another fake shark head that could.
Well, yeah,
butt at it,
with my only problem with using the real shark footage was that it kind of took away from the
I agree.
illusion.
They should have ever used.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it looks great. I mean,
it's like cool that they had real shark footage, but the real shark footage always looks way smaller than what you imagine the Jaws beast to actually be.
It looks like stock footage too.
Yeah,
it looks
like fucking stock footage.
Yeah.
So maybe he was influenced by Ed Wood a little bit.
maybe. I mean, I don't agree with that. I thought it looked great, but
Well,
because like the thing
we
is
can't
that like
all
I
be
agree with
right.
you. Well, I agree with the fact that like it really they could have taken it out and it would have been just as fine. I really think that he was just. I'm sorry, he was kind of like masturbating. You know what I mean? He was like more shock.
yeah,
I need
well,
shock.
Yeah.
but like part of the reason of doing the real stock footage, I mean the real shark footage, was they wanted to say at the end that they had real shark footage so that people would go into it, and then when they leave, they're like, "Wait, was that the real shark, or was that the puppet, or was that the puppet, or was that the real
know.
shark?"
You could
It just
tell.
kinda cheapened
You
it
could
to
tell.
me.
Yeah.
It kind of
Well, anytime that like
it
that was
my
one of the
only
things.
my only like knock against the movie was the real shark footage.
That was one of the things that he said is that the only footage you could use of the shark, it had to always be moving, because the second the shark stops moving, it instantly looks like
fake.
a puppet.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
So-
they actually, in the only other shot of them using the puppet, that kind of just like is my only other real knock on the movie, or to me the only other flaw in the movie, is that shot of the fucking puppet landing on the boat from afar.
yeah.
It kind of doesn't really
Yeah.
hold, that shot didn't really hold up.
Yeah.
I
don't
think
know
that
if
guy
it
who was that
good
original
back then
director
either.
who was one to film whales. I
Whales.
think
Yeah.
he came back.
Yeah.
He came
Yeah.
back for that scene.
Yeah. yeah. Spielberg's like, well, I'm just gonna be gone for a day. How much could he really fuck it up, you know? And then he comes back and that's it. It's like a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Well,
so-
look,
There were three different puppets. There was a left side shark, right side shark, and then the full, more or less full body, and then they had a like just the head for the pickup shots of in the cage later. But those were the ones that they used out. Like those three were the ones that they used out in Martha's Vineyard where they shot this. And they had so much trouble with those things because they tested them. Like some people, like there's all sorts of stories that have gone around. I mean, this movie is actually 45 years old this year. In fact,
Wow.
like not too.
Yeah.
It was sometime like a week or two ago.
Man.
And but they so they made those three things and they tested them.
It was only 15 years old when we were born,
yeah,
you know, ish,
yeah.
or 13 years old. That's amazing to think about.
75 to.
I remember growing up
87,
thinking that
yeah.
it looked so old and that
Well,
it was so ancient.
Now,
but it
one
was
of
really
those
only
reasons
13
is,
years old.
and like that's one of the things I was talking about it with my wife when we were watching it, because like I have it on Blu-ray and it looks great on Blu-ray. The transfer is amazing, but it still has that quality of film stock that you don't get anymore. Like everything now being
Yeah.
digital, it doesn't really look like film.
Right.
Like there is a different look to it. It's not necessarily good or bad. Like I think if you shot a lot of movies that are done today, like if you tried to shoot like an Avengers
yeah.
on that style of film stock, it doesn't.
Interesting.
It wouldn't look right. You know.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it
Especially
requires
the
something
CG.
shiny. It's more shiny.
Yeah. And so like, but on top of that, the film stock that they used, I actually put a note in here because I looked it up. The film stock that they used was cheap even for the time, and it like when they re-released it on DVD or on VHS and in '85, they actually had to go back in and like Technicolor it, like repaint all the frames because the film had deteriorated so
Wow.
bad because the film stock was so cheap. But if you look at movies, sometime in the early to mid '90s, like '92 to '94, somewhere in there, film stock changed totally. Like that was before they
Yeah.
went all digital, obviously. But the film stock had a different look to it. It wasn't as grainy. Cameras were a little better. You know, as quality has increased, like so, they have a different look to them. You know, so but yeah, that's to answer your question or something that you were talking about.
Well, I would certainly say though,
I just got real nerdy. I'm sorry.
How it looked.
I get real nerdy about film stuff.
Old.
Well, as well to what you were saying though, Chase. Well, to what you were saying though, I would say though that as I was watching it, I had somewhat of a different thought. Is that it doesn't look like a lot of films from the 70s though. It does look very much so. Maybe it's because the Spielberg inspired so much filmmaking that came later. But it didn't feel like every time I watch Jaws, I don't feel like I'm watching a film from the 70s. I maybe feel like I'm watching a film from the 80s. But the 70s, it feels like it's a way ahead of its time.
Yeah,
in the look of
direction.
The pacing, pacing is a lot faster too. Even for the 80s, like we've watched a lot of 80s movies where we're like, God, this is fucking slow.
Yeah,
you know, specifically comedies and action films in the 80s. You know, but then you got like Predator. That's not slow, and there's there's exceptions for every rule. But this movie has a good, like you said, it has a very good pace. It doesn't like it does really start off like it starts right at the beginning, right with that first attack, and then it kind of eases you into it. But like you get that feeling of that peaceful little beach town.
Yeah,
even in the midst of all the panic and everything, it's still like it's still very peaceful. It's like kind of a peaceful, tragic way to go.
Yeah,
is being eaten by a shark. There.
Right.
This is like you get eaten in the ocean. You know, that's one of those things. Like the shark eats it, and then it's silent.
Right. Yeah.
You know, even with Quint's death, like he gets eaten, and like there's no music, there's no sound. The shark just sinks away.
Yeah,
and you're just like, what the fuck?
I know.
Comes at him.
They hammed up that scene a little too much. Well, they hammed up that scene a little too much because like there was just so many like cuts to him going yeah, and then like the fake blood coming out of his mouth. They should have just let it chop him and pull him down.
Oh no, I disagree because he dies.
I liked it.
He dies exactly how he says. How he describes
it,
monologue with the high pitched screaming, and you can't go limp, and and then you're already dead.
I guess you're right. It just the blood was too like light colored, like it looked like water.
That's what my wife said too. But I don't know. I've never seen somebody get eaten in half, so I don't know how dark their blood is.
Yeah, but it'd be dark. I would imagine.
You know, I say the same thing with like whenever I watch Reservoir Dogs, I'm always like, that blood is orange. You know, like sometimes it depends on the director and everything like that, with what color their blood is.
Well, actually, the blood was from Mr. Orange, so that's why
bleeds orange.
It actually is from Mr. Orange most of the time in that movie. Yeah.
You're welcome.
But that was the other thing is that when Spielberg was doing this movie and everything, he told the production designer, he's like, I don't want red anywhere in the colors of this movie other than the blood, which that's more brilliant. Or less they get. I mean, there's, some stuff, but he's like, I don't want people walking around in like, flannel or anything like that. But he was like, I want the red to stay just the blood.
Yeah. And it pops that way. Mm-hmm. It definitely pops. I would say too, look, this film, if it were in any other hands or it gone any other way, it could have been one of those movies that nobody remembers, that would have just been in the, for the background of history. Like I found myself thinking about that when I was watching, going, man, it had every choice not been made the way that it was, and was so methodical. And so Spielberg, if anybody else directed this movie, no one would be talking about it. It's not film. It's not as much the screenplay or the story or anything like that. It is the vision, and as we talked about, the pacing and the framing and the dread building. It could have literally been anything, and it just happened to be a shark.
It's one of those things. Like, it's hard to describe what I'm talking about with Spielberg, like his composition, because every director has composition, even if they're bad at it. Like his composition is really good, and because of how it is, but it's very Spielberg to have composition that looks like that.
Well, you think about like
minimalist styles too,
for instance. Huh? But you think about Radiohead, for instance, right? When you hear a Radiohead song, when you hear the way it's layered and built, you go, okay, it's very methodical. They've got a style that builds itself, that lends itself to just them, and when you hear it, You
Yeah.
know that is Radiohead.
And it's the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you see a Tarantino film, you know it's Tarantino. You see, Fincher has a pretty obvious. Burton. Burton
Yep.
is huge. Like he's got a very specific composition. A very
Yeah,
specific
he's very specific.
tone
Yeah.
and style. So it's just one of those things is that Spielberg has a way of specifically making things look interesting. It's not like his way of if you consider it like each frame is a painting, more or less.
Yeah.
So like you have a Kubrick who likes minimalist straight lines, and horizon stuff, where Spielberg is angles and crooked and like pointing your focus in a specific place and like everything's lined up.
Yeah.
So it's
and sweeps. Oh, and one of my notes: Spielberg loves spotlights in dark places with the rays of the light shining through crevices of.
I can see that. I never really realized that, but
loves
you're right.
that shit.
Yeah.
It's everywhere and at least once
Jurassic
in every
Park.
single one of his fucking movies. Jurassic Park, this movie,
Close Encounters,
fucking E.T., dude.
I thought you
Yeah.
haven't seen Close Encounters.
I haven't seen Close Encounters, but I've seen, I know there's lights in it and shit.
Another Dreyfuss.
But he
classic.
loves
Yeah,
that
I mean,
shit.
Indiana Jones, maybe.
It's something that I don't know, that I equate with Spielberg.
Yeah.
Poltergeist, even though he didn't direct it, but he kind of did.
Yeah. Wink, wink.
He just loves doing that shot of like a spotlight with darkness behind it and then the little beams of the spotlight coming through shit.
Yeah.
But isn't it fun whenever you start that's what I love about Bryce, the fact that you've taken this journey with the movie Gap, is that once you start really watching so many films from the same directors or the same writers, you start seeing these patterns that I think is fun when you start seeing those patterns. You start realizing what makes them and why they're such big directors or big writers, like Charlie Kaufman or, it doesn't matter. But I love the fact that you're picking up on that and you're becoming so nerdy with just like, Chase and I've always been. I love this. I love it.
Yeah. I'm becoming a film buff.
It only took 2 years.
Still got a ways
Two
to
long
go.
years.
Yeah.
Still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
You're getting there, sir.
But I do love me some John William Scott compositions.
All right. So, I mean, what are we at?
We're at about an hour and 7 minutos.
Man,
my
there's
burritos.
so much more to talk about in this, but let's just see. What else do you have? Because I got some stuff I would love to talk about. Quint, Robert Shaw.
Yes.
And his the fucking monologue that he gives.
The comparing of scars and bonding over that was a great scene.
Well, there was like it was a pissing contest between Hooper and Quint. It was like old school versus young school. I feel like too Spielberg was making a statement in that too in some way of saying, like you've got this new way and this old way. I don't know, like I feel like there were so many themes that were being confronted in that film.
And that comes straight from the book too. But it's interesting that Richard Dreyfuss, so Roy Scheider, and pretty much everybody said that Robert Shaw, like, it's one of those, like, basically he's a fucking asshole, and like they couldn't stand him unless he was sober. Yeah. If he was sober, he was like so nice and cordial and great, and then he gets one drink in him, and he's like super competitive. And we lost him. I thought.
I'm still here. Sorry.
And just like a total asshole, and he would really get under Dreyfuss because Dreyfuss was,
so he actually annoyed Dreyfuss. In real life.
Man, they hated each other.
Wow.
Like, he kept like, pestering him for being a pussy, and like he's like, "You're not gonna go jump off the mast." And he's like, "I'll give you." He got up to like $1,000 to offer him, and Spielberg's like, "I don't give a fuck how much money he offers you.
Yeah.
Do not jump off the fucking mast while we're making this goddamn movie, you idiot."
Yeah.
But they, and in hindsight, he does say that he learned a lot from him. But Shaw had a real problem with alcohol. Like he was drinking in between takes, and they kept saying like. Scheider said, like, every time he would drink, he would be like, I gotta quit drinking. And he ended up dying 3 years later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
3 years later?
He was, how old do you think he was when he did this movie?
75.
He was 47.
Yeah, but to say he looked like he was like in his late or early 50s.
He was 47 years old. He died at
Damn.
51, 3 years after this movie.
Wow, why?
Incredible.
Because of the drinking?
Yeah. And he just, it gets a hold of you and you can't stop sometimes.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
But and that's what the thing is, that everybody said he's a delight. And he was an incredible writer. He was an incredible actor. He won for I think he won Best Supporting in this one, actually.
Well, this was one of the greatest roles I think of all time from anyone.
Yeah.
That fucking chalkboard scratch, also iconic. We didn't talk about that. But
No, he
the
didn't win for this.
introduction of his character.
Yeah, well, one way they were going to introduce his character was it was going to be at the movie house. Again, this was in Spielberg's script, and Spielberg being a movie guy, like always wants to throw in. Every time I was watching an interview with him, and every time he would say something like this, I was like, God, Stark reminds me a lot of Spielberg when he talks about things like this. He's like, I wanted him to be watching the Gregory Peck Moby Dick and have him in the movie theater. And like all you do is like, this is a packed movie theater, and you just hear this guy cackling and just laughing at like the big final scene where he's throwing the harpoons and all this stuff, and then people just start leaving, and everybody just leaves the movie theater to where it's just, and we just end up on Quint in the back of the movie theater just laughing at the stupidity of it. And they couldn't get the rights to Moby Dick because Gregory Peck owned them. And he said, he's like, he loved the idea and everything like that, but he was like, I own the rights to that. I'm not proud of that movie necessarily, and it's like real cheap looking and everything, so I don't want anybody to sort of remember it. So I'm not going to give you the rights.
Wow.
So they ended up having, Quint laughing at everybody in their little boats and making fun of everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that chalkboard sound that he does, and just every time he starts on one of his fucking little monologues, I'm just like,
yeah.
Like my wife and I were watching it. We're playing our little games on our phones or whatever, or talking to each other about something in the movie, and then that fucking monologue about the U.S. Indianapolis, like that starts, and it was just fucking silent.
Yeah,
and you're just in it.
That was the exact same thing in my household. Yeah, the same exact thing. We were sitting there doing our own thing, and then like you just get sucked in. It's so visceral.
Yeah, and that monologue got rewritten like 3 or 4 times. So Benchley, he wrote more or less a draft. There was another guy who helped work on it, but he wasn't working on it enough that he wanted credit for anything. And so he actually wrote the first draft of the Quint monologue, and it was very short. And then they expanded it, and Robert Shaw was like, this prose is brilliant, but it's not me. It's not this character. I don't perform it that way. So let me have a stab at it. So he rewrote it, and Spielberg approved of it. Then they shot it, but he was drunk when they did the first shoot of it, and he hated it. He thought he sucked, and he like came back to Spielberg and was like, I need another chance. Like, give me another chance. So that he did it again sober, and that's the performance that you actually got.
Oh shit!
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. His performance.
Did he win? Did he win a?
No.
He's great. He's great in The Sting too. So that's kind of neat. And that was him. Let's all take turns doing the original version that was real short of the thing, that like our imagination of what the short version would be.
Version of the Okay.
All right, you go. You want to go first? Start.
Sure.
All right.
I was in the water. Then shark go bitey. I say ouchie. Realize my friends drunk me. All right, done.
Nice.
That's not bad.
That's short too.
That's good.
Yeah. All right, you want to go?
On a boat, not on a boat no more. Big boom. Then the next day, not so many. Sharks suck.
Spielberg's like, yeah, something. It just needs a little something.
What does he call? He doesn't even call them sharks. He always calls them. What does he call them? Groupers?
Tiger sharks.
He has
little bastards.
Yeah, he had like another word for it.
Fish.
Anyway,
all right. Here's mine. Ready? I were on the USS Indianapolis.
That's
The
it.
end.
That's it.
Yeah.
I will say, if you like the character of Quint and you want to see a whole movie of that, watch The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe. It is just like, take away all story and structure and just make, that drunk sailor character for an hour and a half with, a younger version that's Robert Pattinson. It's
Yeah.
Quint
Is that movie worth it or worse shit?
It's worth it.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Weird as fuck.
Okay.
It's by the people that made The Witch.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is a bananas movie. It's
I don't know why I keep trying to say Ari. It's not Ari Aster because he's the one who did Hereditary.
Yeah, it's not him.
It's the other guy. It's the other guy. Oh, Eggers.
Yeah. I think it's two people, or maybe it's like brothers.
No, it's the
that wrote
guy.
it.
It's something Eggers is what his name is.
Okay.
This one guy.
I'll look it up.
I liked Midsummer more than Hereditary.
Really?
Side note.
Midsummer was incredible.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Hereditary
Midsummer, but
was one of my favorite films.
Yeah, Hereditary has the rewatchability, and Midsummer just doesn't for me.
I disagree with both of you guys, and I think both of you are completely fucking wrong, and we're no longer friends.
Noted.
All right.
Internet
So-
wars.
What else did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about on this one?
I got one more note.
Okay.
Jaws. Are you ready to get your minds blown?
Yeah.
All right. Did you know that Jaws stands for just a white shark?
Wow.
That's
Dude.
awesome.
Mic drop.
Dude.
What is funny
I'm glad
is
you learned
that
so much.
what is funny is that the title that Benchley, he couldn't come up with a title for the novel, and it was him and his publisher or whatever. They kept going back and forth, and he kept coming up with I want to call it from the deep fathoms, and he's like, all this shit is just so fucking pretentious, and they couldn't come up with it, and he said that they were at at lunch or whatever, him and his publisher.
You said Deep Fathoms was one of them?
Yeah, from the deep fathoms, some pretentious bullshit.
Some 20,000 leagues under the sea.
He's like, we were sitting there going back and forth, arguing on what the title could be, and we couldn't even agree on one word. He's like, the only word we can even come close to agreeing on is that we should have the word Jaws. And Bitch is like, you know what? Fuck it. Why don't we call it Jaws? That'll fit on the jacket. And they did. And
great.
So Spielberg, when he got offered it, it was this big thick script or whatever, and it just said Jaws on it, and the book wasn't famous yet, and which the book did sell really well, but
Sure.
he saw it, he had no idea. He's like, so is this a fucking movie about a dentist? The word Jaws had no connotation in the English language for anything really yet, but now you hear Jaws, you
Yeah.
think fucking shark,
Right.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
The association came from
Yeah.
the film.
Yeah.
It's such a great movie. I mean, it's such a great title, man. I thought about that for 10 minutes after I watched it. I was like, man, what is just a perfect title?
Yeah.
And it made for such
And
a
that fucking poster.
perfect poster,
Yeah.
dude. Oh my gosh.
By the way, it is Robert Eggers.
Yeah, that's it. Robert Eggers.
Did you have anything else you wanted to get into before we get into numbers and our
I was going to say
I was
one
asking
thing.
Stark, but that's
I know, but I wanted to say something else.
That's okay.
Man,
Fuck the guest.
I had a whole
Fuck
bunch.
the guest.
I had a whole bunch of things, but I did want to say that the woman, what was her name? The mom.
Oh, Holly?
No, the mom of the boy.
Oh, the one that slaps Dobie or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Brody. Toby?
Brody.
Toby.
Miss Kinter, and Alex Kinter. So she actually slapped the shit out of Roy Schneider because she didn't know how to
Schneider.
not slap him. Yeah, Roy Schneider.
Just remember, he takes shites.
Yeah, take shites. And then, but also, so years later, decades after the movie came out, she was in a restaurant. It was a seafood restaurant, and on the menu was the Alex Kinter sandwich. Alex Kinter is the name of the boy who got eaten, and she was like, "What the fuck?" And she commented, she told the waiter, and she was like, "I played Miss Kinter. I played that boy's mom."
Yeah.
And she's like, "What's going on?" And he goes, "Oh, hold on, let me get the owner." And the owner comes out, and it was the boy who played Alex Kinter, and they hadn't seen each other in decades. He runs a seafood restaurant, and he had his own sandwich, and they're like, "Oh shit, that's crazy."
Oh wow.
But I wanted to just
That's pretty cool.
role play that scene.
Okay.
Right. So I'm gonna be Lee Fierro, the woman that played the boy. Okay.
Okay.
So
All right. Excuse me, waiter.
No, I'm her. You're the.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
My bad. Oh, you're the. Oh, okay. Well,
Excuse me, waiter.
so
I see here there's an Alex Kinter sandwich. Is that some sort of fucking joke?
yeah,
You know that's the little boy in Jaws that died.
yeah,
He got
yeah,
eaten.
yeah. I know. I played.
That's my
him.
fucking son. I played his mother.
You.
I need to see your manager now.
Oh yeah, let me go get him. I didn't play him. Let me go get the
Yeah,
guy
you
that
didn't
played him.
play
No.
No, don't tell me that.
That's just what I tell the hot chicks though.
Yeah.
That I wait on. All right, I'll go get the real guy. All right. What? Mom?
Joe's Crib Shack? Is that really you?
It's me. Yes.
Joe's
It's me,
Crib
Joe.
Shack.
Wait, was it Joe's Crab Shack was the real?
Joe's
that
Crib
really-
Shack.
Was that really him?
No, that was the joke. Is that
Oh.
he
is that-
opened up
man.
a restaurant. His name
and it
is
was
Joe's
Joe.
Crib Shack.
Oh.
Joe's Crib Shack.
You go. Wait, is that for real?
I don't know if that
Joe's
was.
Crib
Bruh,
Shack.
I don't know if
I
that
think
was
that's where
the
Joe's Crab Shack
if he
came from.
actually was the guy that started Joe's Crab Shack.
Nope.
What a name, Joe's Crib Shack.
Papa Doe's?
Yeah.
Yeah. Papacitos?
He's all moved here. He
Yeah,
always moved here
yeah.
to Houston. No matter what, it's all local
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was
Sorry.
and scene.
And scene.
Do that.
Sorry, I walked all over.
Oh,
you.
that was all part of the scene. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
that-
meta.
No, but that
Yeah.
was a true story that she actually ran into him decades later.
Wow.
And he ran a shop though.
That's
so
good.
yeah, I mean, there's we could go on. There's so much to talk about in this movie, but I think it's probably best that we wrap it up.
Yes.
Did you have any last thoughts before we get into numbers and ratings?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, start. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, no, not really. This to me, one of my favorite films of all time. I think it's great, and yeah, we'll never go swimming in a pool without thinking there's sharks beneath me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, this is easily one of those movies. It's like Die Hard, where I could watch it all the time. Like it's
Yeah.
one of those movies. Anytime you watch it, you're like, God, this movie. Like you're done with it, and you're just like, this movie's just so fucking good. And if anybody's like, why is Jaws so good? Why is Die Hard so good? You're just like, because they're like, just watch them. Like they're just, you'll see.
Yeah.
They're why movies are made. Sort of.
Yeah, Chase, Chase, you know my stepdad, Bull.
Yeah.
He doesn't like any movies. He hates movies. This dude watches this movie all the fucking time. In fact, the other day was singing that Seafarer girl song to me. He's like, you know where that's from? And I had no fucking idea. He goes, Jaws. I'm like, what? You don't even like movies.
Yeah.
So that's how good this film is, and
Yeah.
how far reaching it is, I guess, is a good example.
Yeah.
So it was nominated for Best Picture, but it lost. Do you know what
To who?
movie it lost to?
Kramer versus
What year?
Kramer.
What year was it? 1975.
75.
Well, 75 was when it came out, so it was the 76 Oscars. I'll give you a hint. The movie it lost to swept.
Oh,
It
Rocky.
swept the Big Five.
Rocky.
No, that's only happened. At the time, it had only happened twice. But
Rocky
so this
didn't
was
do
The
that?
second time.
Bridges over Madison County.
The movie that came out in 94.
Yes, it was
No,
fucking time travel.
it
Was it Rocky?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, yeah, that is 75, wasn't
Which
it?
is another one
Yeah.
I haven't seen.
Oh yeah, that's a great movie. I love that movie. So yeah, so let's move on to wrap it up here with the numbers. Anybody ready? You ready
Yeah.
for your guesses? So the budget was $7 million.
Whoa.
All right, opening weekend, June 22nd, 1975.
Movie budget.
Anybody got an idea?
I'm going to say opening weekend, I'm going to say $15 million.
All right,
I'm gonna go $5 million. I
right.
think it was a slow burner.
Bryce is closer with $7,061,000. So he like.
Right.
Boom,
made
made
it
his
back
budget
It
in
made
back.
an instant profit.
Yeah. The gross, like the domestic gross for the United States, and I don't know
Well,
if
we
this,
know it's over 100
Yeah.
million.
So I don't know if this is to date or just like it is original run.
Like including its re-releases.
Yeah. So, but I do have the domestic gross. Anybody?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I will guess 155 million.
I'm going to say 150 million.
Y'all are both way off. Why don't y'all take another stab?
What do you mean way off?
Y'all are way
It's higher?
It's way higher.
What?
1 billion. I'm going to say 1 billion.
It's not. It's way lower. Way lower.
500 million.
Okay.
500 million.
No, but that's
400 million.
No, it's 200. We're done with this. 260 million.
We're not that far. We weren't that far.
We're 100 million off.
56
Yeah.
We're
million.
100 million off. That's a lot of million.
But didn't it get,
I mean,
with numbers
not
like
that far.
All right, but the cumulative worldwide, you were almost dead on, Stark.
1 billion?
It was 471 million.
Oh,
So
so nothing-
471
Yeah,
million.
that
really
was
make
like
that
my
much
seventh
money.
guess.
Yeah.
I was spot on with my seventh
Yeah,
guess.
and not really. I feel like this is everyone's least favorite segment, where it's just me reading numbers.
Yeah.
And y'all always
Do people
being
listen
wrong.
this far in?
I doubt it.
They'll be
All right,
watching.
well let's
now,
get the
though,
let's get the
baby.
ratings here.
Stark, do you want to do the honors?
Sure. Let's say out of 10 bad hats, Harry.
10 what?
I would
10 what? Bad
10 bad hats, Harry. That's a bad
hat.
hat, Harry.
Oh,
What's
Okay.
that?
That's like one of the most famous lines from the movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
You've never heard "That's a bad hat, Harry"?
No. Who says it?
It's Roy Schneider whenever he's on the beach and he's trying to watch the people, like, and there's like this guy with a swimming cap that sits down and starts trying to talk to him about like you know, how people keep coming to him, and then he's just like not even listening to him. He's like the dude with the saggy boobs and shit.
Yeah.
And then he just like says, "That's a bad hat, Harry," and just pushes him off. Anyway,
Oh, wow,
so
I missed
out
that.
of 10
wow.
out of 10 bad hat Harrys, I would give it 25. I think it's to me damn near perfect film, and I can't knock it.
Yeah.
Not a single point.
Wow.
Bryce.
Wow. That's big.
It's big.
I give out of 10 barrels, I give it 9 barrels. And there ain't no way she coming up or she's staying down with 9 barrels.
All right. Out of 10 mayors who are secretly working for the Sharks. I mean, that's it. Like that
Yeah.
mayor is like, by the third time, you're like, okay, he's secretly working
Yeah.
for the Sharks
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
He's been raising the shark since childhood. It's
yeah.
his whole plan.
The biggest joke, and really the best part about Jaws 2 is that he's still the fucking mayor.
Right.
So,
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And
That's funny.
does the same goddamn thing.
Really?
This guy
Don't
is
spoil
working
it.
for
I
the
haven't
Sharks.
seen it. Don't spoil
Hey,
it.
I will say one thing before you finish that real quick, Chase. I just want to say I love how they try and make you feel bad for the mayor at the,
Yeah.
at the hospital. You're like, sitting there going, he goes,
My son
kids
was
were in
out
that
there."
water
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You're like, shut
Well,
the
then you're a
fuck up, dude.
jackass.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling for you.
Yeah. You're even more stupid.
So not only are you a
Yeah.
horrible mayor,
Yeah.
but you're also
A horrible father.
terrible father.
Yeah.
We should
And a
take
horrible
this
person.
town and your
Yeah.
son away from you.
The real monster in this movie is the mayor.
It's the mayor.
It's
yeah,
the
the
mayor.
shark
It's
and
the
all.
mayor.
And the economy. All right,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, so I 10, 10, perfect 10.
Oh.
Incredible movie. And to move
Wow.
on to our new segment, worth it or worst shit. That is where you say this movie is worth it, as in it is worth watching, or it is the worst shit,
Ooh.
meaning it's not worth watching.
Not worth even watching.
like this new
Obviously,
segment.
this one is pretty unanimous. I think
I think so.
worth it.
Worst shit. Yeah. No,
Two
worth it.
it's up.
Worth it. Yeah, big time.
I think my favorite line though is "Smile, you son of a
Yeah,
bitch."
I wrote that down.
Yeah.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
Which, by the way, Peter Benchley and Spielberg got in heated arguments about the climactic ending of the shark exploding. Because in the book, he's got all the barrels on him, and he's been stabbed and harpooned, and he kind of just ends up like losing, like he can't fight the barrels anymore because he's
Yeah.
bleeding out, and he drowns, and then he like circles down and falls into the water.
Oh, that's
and
weak.
Spielberg's like, "That
That's
sucks.
weak.
I want to blow it
Yeah.
the fuck up."
Yeah.
And Benchley's like, "That looks so stupid. There's no way it's gonna work. You can't blow up a fucking shark.
Yeah.
This is dumb." don't do it. And Spielberg goes, look, if I can do this movie right and I get them on my side, by the time I blow up that shark, they're going to not only buy it, they're going to love it.
Right.
And when they were at the premiere, Dreyfuss said that when they, they blew up, everybody fucking cheers.
Yeah.
Hooper comes out of the water and everybody cheers.
Yeah.
They started to swim off and it's the end. They said they got a standing ovation. Everybody sat down, watched every credit, and then when the credits were over, stood up and gave another ovation.
Wow. Jesus.
So
I do wonder though how the tank was still somehow in his teeth after he'd swallowed the tank for him to even harpoon it.
Well, he didn't swallow it all the way. It was just in his mouth.
Yeah, but he's going around with it in his mouth. He's like,
well, and he didn't harpoon it. He shot it with a gun. He shot it with his gun.
I'm sorry, he shot it with his gun. But
that
it's
doesn't
completely
make
unrealistic.
Also, it wouldn't blow up. Like you can't shoot pressurized air and make it explode.
Right.
Like
If anything, the barrel would just, if it got a leak in it, would take off.
I will say I am very proud of you, Bryce, that we have made it all the way through this episode, and not once did you say, this is like Trimmers on water.
Wait, why? Is that what people say?
No, because Trimmers was like Jaws
this.
on land.
Yeah, that's true.
In fact, the whole thing with the Jaws like pulling the barrels and like going, that's how they made the ripples underneath the ground in Trimmers, was they put barrels like they buried barrels in little trenches and put loose
that must have been a nightmare.
And just
wow.
But so that wraps it up here. We got a reboot recast.
Yeah.
All right, you ready, Stark? All right, let's get ready for the reboot. God damn it, Bryce. All right, so what are we going to start with? Stark, you're the guest. We'll start with you.
Well, we really only need to do 3 people.
Yeah,
right?
we're going to do Quint, Brody, and Hooper.
Cool.
Stark, why don't you take it away? You get to pick who we start with.
All right, let's say Brody.
Brody.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Start from the top.
Okay, so my Brody is, ready for this? Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. And this is one of those things where
face.
You always get mad at me about age, but that's actually right. It's just that everybody back then, like they're all 35.
They looked older.
Well, Richard Dreyfuss was like 22.
Right.
Or supposed to be in his 20s.
He looked like he was 37.
30, yeah. And then like Roy Schneider is like, he's like 35, looking like he's 58.
Yeah.
Fucking, and then Robert Shaw, 47, looks like he's 60. Yeah. So, I mean, people just aged harder back then.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me?
When I'm up your butt.
Hey, Jake Gyllenhaal's 40 years old. So, I mean,
But that's not a bad one. I'm just trying to think on mine. I was trying to buy myself some time and I forgot.
You trickster.
We'll go to you, Bryce.
I think it's obvious, Leonardo DiCaprio. If you want to have a
I thought it was a little too on the nose. Why
is it on the nose?
It is a little
it just
on
seems
the
like,
nose.
Because you'd be like this.
I don't even agree with what I just said. I just said it because it was so obvious.
Yeah, I feel like he'd be like this the whole time. You know what I mean? Just like so confused.
Yeah.
He does do that face.
Yeah.
He loves that face.
Man,
he'd be like, I'm not a shark.
See, it's too old. Okay, so now I got too old. Now I got too young.
Leonardo DiCaprio plays
I'm not a shark.
Because they'd be back in Boston or whatever, or in Massachusetts. He'd be doing that stupid fucking accent. No, never mind. We're not doing him. We're not doing him. I love Leo, but we're not letting him do accents anymore. He's banned from accents.
So who do you cast?
All right, then I don't know. I like Gyllenhaal because, funnily enough, Robert Downey Jr. might not be bad.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but again, that's too old.
He's too old.
Yeah, they have these young kids. Because I was thinking even throwing in like maybe a Brad Pitt.
But he's the same age as Robert Downey Jr.
But Brad Pitt also, I don't know.
Yeah,
Brad Pitt's too old.
Yeah.
And that's what's throwing me off is that like Roy Schneider looks so old that he's not.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to think of younger because what you're wanting is like 35 to 40.
Right.
Which
Gyllenhaal is probably perfect.
Gyllenhaal's not bad. I'm just trying to I want to throw out some other options so we have something to play with.
Right.
Well, okay. Let's come back to that.
Henry Cavill.
No, he's too I don't think that he should be that strong. Yeah. Like,
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck's too old too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to think like Oh man, who's 30?
It's okay, guys. I had the
Yeah.
I had the perfect one. That's the reason why you're having such a hard time here.
I guess
I mean,
Part of it.
listen,
Okay, we'll
yes,
come back to it.
obvious.
We'll come back to it. And let's go to Quint.
No,
All
save
right,
Quinn for
Quinn-
last.
Oh, we can save Quint for last. All
Okay.
right,
Well, it's Hooper.
Hooper.
All right, Hooper. All right,
Yeah.
you want to know? You ready for my Hooper? You ready for this?
Mhm.
Brrr, Jonah Hill.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe.
He'd have he could do the playfulness of it at the same time as being young and looking
Yeah.
young, but also not looking young at the same time.
Yeah.
That is not bad. I have one that I think that you all are going to love, and it keeps up with our theme of when it's us three on HJO, baby. Haley Joel Osment. It's not him playing a kid today,
he
but
has
he's
to
the
play
same
the
age.
shark. He plays Alex. He plays the kid. He plays the kid that gets
Yes.
eaten. He plays the
Yes.
dog that gets eaten.
Yeah.
He plays the naked girl at the beginning.
Yeah.
He plays all the victims.
Yeah.
It just reminds. I've just been thinking about whatever was the AI episode where he's
AI.
like looking at all the young ones. He goes,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
look just like me.
yeah. Yeah. It's so good.
Um,
All right, so he plays Alex Minter then. All right, fine. Well, I
Cool.
thought he'd be good for Hooper too, so I don't know. I got nothing.
okay, for Hooper,
Actually, I
was
like
thinking,
Haley Joel for that.
I was thinking Thomas Middleditch.
Oh well,
I know I've
that's-
used him
he's
before,
got-
but he's got that geeky quality. I know I've used
He
him on
does.
something, but we used him for kind of the same character. I forget what movie it was.
Well, what about
I could see it.
Schwa for
No, Schwa's too
Dobie.
goofy for Brody, and not really old enough. He needs to be a little bit like even.
Schwa's in his
He's
mid-30s.
he's at the right age, but he looks younger. You know, he doesn't look like a father. You know, like you want somebody that looks like a father.
Hmm.
You know, so like maybe like an Oscar Isaacs, maybe
I can see Oscar Isaacs as a Brody.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
This probably is just because of Justified. Timothy Oliphant. I'm obsessed with Timothy Oliphant right now.
He's
I
too
just
old.
I actually
watched
could see
all
him.
of Justified.
I could see him
Yeah.
too as a Brody.
And he could play that. He could play that. That aspect of like not wanting to be there, like not liking the water. You know, like there's like that little bit of not really knowing if he's a good dad. Like he's there's that whole aspect of Brody like not being comfortable in where he is.
But could Oliphant really could he carry a blockbuster film as the lead role? I don't think so.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Hitman?
No.
I believe it was an Uwe Boll. It was one of those, Hitman. For the
Uwe
movie.
Boll.
Yeah.
Yeah, the video game adaptation
Yeah.
king.
Yeah, well,
Right.
that was
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Was the first of the Hitman video game adaptations. I think there was a second one that was a totally different person, but yeah, he
Wow.
played it as like why that's not a good casting at all. But I kind of like all three of those options.
I could see him. I could see him.
Gyllenhaal, I think I could see. Man, yeah, those are not bad. And we did pretty good on the Brodies. On the Hoopers as well. So now let's get to
Quint.
Quint.
All right, you ready? All right, my Quint, I have two. Like I was caught between. So my first one, I feel like is my favorite one, which would be Jeff Bridges.
Ooh.
I feel like
Okay.
Jeff Bridges could like fucking chew that scenery up.
Yeah.
Also, I had Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I can see that. Mine, I already said it before, and it's with a bullet, is Willem Dafoe. Because
Willem Dafoe
that
would be
just
perfect. It would be
great.
perfect.
If not Willem Dafoe, I would like to see a real grizzled fucking Kurt Russell.
I could see a Kurt Russell.
Ooh.
You know,
I could see a
I
Kurt
would
Russell.
like
because
that
like Kurt
too.
Russell would have
Yeah.
been Brody if this was
Right.
20
Yeah.
years ago.
Right.
You know, but like seeing him be like the,
Like kind of looking like how he does in Galaxy,
but not
Volume
as clean,
2,
obviously. Yeah,
but not as clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with the beard and more grizzled,
yeah.
and maybe
I
his
can see
eye
it.
patch from
And
Escape from New York.
I'll fucking watch Kurt Russell in anything.
yeah.
When I was working at the movie theater, I watched Sky High like 10 fucking times.
know
While
what that
working at the
is.
movie theater, I
Yeah.
watched Sky High 10 times last week. All right. That's my fucking jam.
I whack off to it 10 times.
You would, you sick bastard.
Uh,
Yeah.
All right. Well, wait, did you go? No,
I
four.
like Kurt Russell. I really don't. I can't.
I mean,
I don't know.
we've
I
knocked
don't
out
have anyone. No.
We've knocked
I
out a
wanna say
lot of
real
them. Any
quick,
of those guys
the
can
ma-
do it.
I just want to say I had the mayor written down,
Oh, okay.
and my mayor was Robert Downey Jr.
I don't hate that.
As,
You know,
like a great
so-
small part.
This is what I know this guy from is the mayor is, he's the mayor in Jaws, and I always think of him as that. But I just recently, it's been about 4 or 5 months, I watched The Graduate for the first time. And
Dude,
watching this,
great
I realized that the mayor is the plastics guy from The Graduate. So one who goes, plastics. One word for you. Plastics.
Plastics.
Remember that.
Is that who's that? Was that Mike Nichols? Who's that?
Yeah, the director. Yeah, for writer and director of Graduate. Yeah, that is a first 2 acts of that movie are very good. Falls apart a little bit in the third act, in my opinion. But that line, the plastics, is my favorite part. Yeah, that's the mayor. So also the mayor was the first person that was cast in this movie, and that was Spielberg's choice. He was like, "I want him. Let's do it." The writer, Jeff, I want to say Jeff Goebbels or Goebbels.
Jeff Probst from Survivor fame.
Yeah, Carl Gottlieb. I'm sorry, that's his name, Gottlieb. Carl Gottlieb.
So close.
Totally wrong.
So close.
Yeah, I made him a war criminal.
Yeah, you went with Goebbels. That was actually
Goebbels.
Goebbels actually wrote the movie Jews.
Oh, dude, that's terrible.
Anyway, he was the official, one of the official final screenplays on this. He was cast as the reporter from the town so that they would have the writer on set. And the more he rewrote the movie, the more his part got smaller and smaller to where he's in like one scene.
Yeah, I was wondering like that. He is loving that scene. You can tell he's like, we're right down here in the sunny beaches of Amity.
Yeah.
And let me tell you.
Oh no, that's Peter Benchley.
Oh, that's Peter Benchley.
Yeah,
Okay.
who also is a screenwriter on this. No, the
wrote the
reporter,
book
not
too,
the
right?
not the writing reporter, not the
I was about to
news
say when
anchor
you say
reporter.
reporter, that's the only reporter I remember.
Yeah. No, he's just following him around with a pen and paper. He's like the heavy set guy with like the little mustache. He's only in a couple of scenes. But yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, that wraps it up here for this
Sounds good to
episode. Bryce, do you have anything to plug?
Jody Seabud in the Worlds, as always, streaming everywhere. Buy it, stream it, rent it, own it. Jody Seabud in the Worlds, iTunes and Spotify. Go for it.
Stark?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be leaving Earth on the first mission to Mars to go colonize. And, I'm leaving humanity behind, thankfully. Fuck everybody. But, if you guys want to wave me off, I'd love to see you guys out there as I leave
Fuck
Earth's
yeah.
atmosphere.
We'll be watching that shit.
Awesome.
Hell
Yeah, please.
Great. You know what I have to say to you, Stark?
Manny, look at it. Pelican fly. Come on, pelican.
It's for you
Oh, he
flying
couldn't hear
to
that.
Mars. Oh, he can't hear that?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I was about to say, what was that?
I thought it was going through. I thought he would hear that.
No.
Oh, yeah, because he's only
Yeah,
on that
he's on
now.
that.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, what was it?
It was the come on.
Look at it. Here,
Manny,
play it for him
yeah.
again. He'll hear it.
Manny, look at it. Pelican fly. Come on, pelican.
Oh,
Yeah, you
yeah.
heard
Okay,
it.
I got you. I remember that now. I remember that now.
Oh.
You dirty
This
dog.
whole time I've been hitting these
Yeah.
things thinking like Stark can hear
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No.
All right. Yeah, I forgot that we have him set up to that mic now.
Oh yeah,
Um,
because you did a drop earlier. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I did
right.
several.
I forgot. Yeah, that's right.
Well, next
Oh, there
time
was a drop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
There's
we've
been
doing
sound
a
effects
lot.
this whole
Yeah,
time?
including during the theme song. You couldn't hear the theme song.
Yeah,
You were
couldn't
sitting
hear
there
the theme
dancing.
song at all. Wait, could you hear the theme song?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, well, because we used to have it going through this, but now we got it that. Yeah, all right. I see why.
Yeah.
All right. Well, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at The Movie Gap. Let us know your thoughts on the reboot recast. We settled on 3 different ones basically. I don't think anybody got shit on today, which is rare
Yeah.
because I was here and I usually shit on everybody.
That's all right.
I'm very opinionated. Sorry.
You're the master of shitting on
Yeah.
people.
And
He's the master of shit.
You shit on people.
Yeah.
I'm Roy
On
Scheider.
chests.
You're a real,
well
yeah,
be
you're a real Roy
I'm a real
Scheider.
Roy Scheider.
Yeah.
What about Rob Schneider?
Mhm.
I'm an animal, like Rob Schneider.
That's right.
Real hot chick.
He's a hot chick.
What's another one? Deuce Bigelow? No, that's not working.
Deuce Big.
Is that how you do jokes? You sit there and talk about him.
He's a real,
Before you
yeah.
commit to it. Yeah. I'm a real Rob. Remember that short-lived Netflix
Real
sitcom?
Rob. Yeah.
He was
Were you guys listening to something again?
It's
What?
on.
No. We're talking. Oh, you probably can't hear us. All right. Also, if you get a little bee in your bonnet, check us out on YouTube, and you watch our videos of the podcast on YouTube. They should be out around every Wednesday when the podcast drops. Sometimes they take a little bit longer to upload, so we'll see. But that being said, we're done here, right?
If you ain't streaming, you ain't dreaming.
All right.
Stay
Until
masked
next
up
week.
from the ass up.
Nom in space.